It's your boy Bleeves. Everybody listen up. Let's get it. I'm trying to put money in your pocket. That crypto wallet. That bing bada bing ching ching big profit. Even when the market's sideways, I'm looking for ways to get paid. I'm checking my coins around breakfast, then again around bedtime. Bet this, it's not financial advice, but I'm always right. 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 I'm always right.
What is going on, everybody? I hope you're having a great morning. My name is Bleeves. This is Breakfast with Bleeves. Richard Caldwell's in the house. Good morning. John Thomas says Ben ETH was on group live chat making no sense, sounding drunk, saying he is rich. First time hearing him, he is crazy, saying Ben threatening to kill his kid. Well, that's actually true in a roundabout sort of way. He all of it seems to be true. He does seem to be a little bit crazy. He does have these group chats where he gets drunk, and he does say a bunch of crazy stuff. But let me also say that BitBoy was very open about what happened and said that one of his buddies, who's also an advisor for Ben, was helping him try to negotiate with, and it might have been Druth, but he was helping to negotiate for the release of Ben coin and all that kind of stuff, whatever Ben ETH was doing that was creating a problem for BitBoy. So then he said, tell him I'm with the drug cartel, that I'm run by the drug cartels or something like that, and that they're going to cut my arm off and that they're going to come for him and his family if he doesn't give me my money or something like that. And so that's what he did. But Ben ETH, of course, said, hold on, before you say anything, let me get my kid in the room so that I can then use this later as a threat, which is what ended up happening, by the way. So then he said, and he did it in front of my kids. Look, if you don't mind playing the big boy's game, don't act offended when a big boy comes to play the game back. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that was just his opportunity to be offended and to tell all of his the jabroni NFT guys that, oh, look what happened to me. I'm so weird. So I don't really put any value to that. Good morning, Richard Nelson, Ben Fair in the house. Good morning, Jeff T. Good morning, Operations D in the house. Hunter is in the house. Good morning, Justin W. Good morning, Ryo Pepe 2.0. Is it still up a million, billion, trillion %? If so, good God. Joni Metcalf in the house. Good morning. Let's get into it. We got a lot of news that's going on. We're going to do this. I'm just as quickly as I possibly can to get us through most of it, mostly headlines and stuff like that. We're not going to get too deep into the weeds. Market basically sideways. Jerome Powell should be speaking very shortly. We'll start to get some ideas about what is going on over there. ISO's in the house. Australia. Good morning. Bencoin had a massive dump just a little while ago, and I do believe, and I did put some content out. Make sure you hit the like button on the way in, but I do think that it was, I think it was MEXC dumping the perpetual futures contract back onto the open market. Now, I don't have anything to back it up other than some little tracking that I did. It's rudimentary. I didn't have time to really dig in. Havoc Zero, smash the like button. Scotty Murray's in the house. To real quick go back over here to Ben, though. So what happened was there was a bunch of sell-off just a little while ago. Anybody else having their DEX tools just randomly refresh all the time? I don't know what I did, but man, I screwed up some kind of setting somewhere or something. But you see, there was a big sell-off here. And it started with specific amounts, but it was AE78, this wallet right here. And I feel like I'm familiar with that wallet. But if we go over here to token transfers, and we come to the Ben transfers, and we just look solely at Ben, then we see right here all of the transactions where everything was being sold off, or when something was coming in, when something was going out, et cetera, et cetera. But one of the things that seems to keep going was this right here, that this was all coming from MEXC, from a specific wallet at MEXC, where all of these buys were made like 6 hours and 53 minutes ago, and then all of a sudden it started dumping. Now, 6 hours and 53 minutes ago, by the way, I think we should point out 6 hours and 53 minutes, it's 7 hours, right? We're at 8 o'clock. So at 1 o'clock a.m., what was the price at 1 o'clock in the morning? So the price at 1 o'clock in the morning was 83.01, right? So at 83, you're selling, let's just call it 81 to say, you know what, Jesus Christ, way to go, Bleeves. So the low price was 81.34, and then when the sell-off started here, the high was 80.37. So this person was determined to lose money, and that doesn't make any sense. So I think that what we're looking at is we're looking at a big transfer, that it was just MEXC moving the perpetual futures over from one of their hot wallets into an open market and then dumping on the market. That is my interpretation of what is happening right there, but I can't verify that. I can't say that that was or was not. Just seems like some very specific amounts were being transferred over from MEXC into the open market and then dumped 5 hours later at what would end up being a loss if this was the end. So I think that this was just a transfer and not an actual buy in that regard. So, but I didn't have time to look at it. Going back over here, though, we're still at 30,100, fighting to stay above 30,000 at this point, down 1% almost on the hour, as we have a now confirmed kind of sell-off here, down 23 billion on the day. American market doing what it do, selling off on the investors and retail, and trying to screw the little guy, because that's how America do, right? Money is not made, it's transferred. And that transfer is away from you into them. And they do this kind of stuff to trick you so that you sell as well, and then they buy in a little bit cheaper, and then they keep going. But the sell-off is real. Oh no, Gary Gensler's coming for us, or whatever they're using as the reason this morning. Maybe it's just a little bit of taking profit right now, weakening or softening of the market. We'll be checking that out in just a few minutes. Hunter's in the house. What is going on? Kamal's in the house. Jay Smooth's in the house, volting it up. Anyway, so this is what we've got on the crypto market right now. A lot of back and forth sort of action. But news-wise, retail or institutional, who will rally the next bull run? There's an interesting point that they made in this article. And currently the price of Bitcoin sits at 30,455 when this was made. But what they wanted to point out is when institutions come in to participate in the market, and they're doing it in a quiet way, they're able to do it almost without moving the price. Even though there were massive inflows, those institutions were sophisticated enough to acquire Bitcoin slowly and use algorithms that won't drive up the market price. So that's what they're doing. Furthermore, retail investors were responsible for 50% of the price surges in Bitcoin, as highlighted by the Fireblock CEO. This is because their involvement in the market is less sophisticated, leading to significant fluctuations in the price. Several others in the market chimed into the same tune. A prominent trader tweeted, "Never in history have we had such a good opportunity for retail investors to front-run institutions as with Bitcoin," something that I think we're finally kind of seeing right now. Nick Bright, what is going on, man? Good morning. Wesley's volting it. Hustler VIP says, "Don't miss Pepe 2.0. Cameron Winklevoss from Gemini drew a parallel between purchasing Bitcoin prior to the launch of ETFs and making a pre-IPO. The great accumulation of Bitcoin has begun. This is June 21, by the way. Anyone watching the flurry of ETF filings understands the window to purchase pre-IPO Bitcoin before ETF goes live and open the floodgate is closing fast. If Bitcoin was the most obvious and best investment in the previous decade, this will likely be the most obvious and best trade of this decade." So everybody's kind of coming up here and telling you what you need to hear, and that is that Bitcoin is probably going to be the one that makes the big move. Now, will it be the one that sends you, if you're a retail investor, will it drive you? I asked the question last night, can Bitcoin 5X in 2023? And the answer to that is probably not. Would take just a real sort of miracle of occurrences. It would take the wrecking of a lot of banks. It would take a whole lot to really 5x Bitcoin, because it would require about a $5 trillion market cap at current valuation. And although that money does sit out there and does exist, I don't think that we get the approval of enough ETFs. I don't think that we get enough exposure before we get to where we would like to be. So, we'll see whether or not that happens, but I don't think that it's possible at this point. However, right now is the accumulation time for Bitcoin. By the way, make sure that you hit the like button on the way in. Helps me out in the algorithm. Appreciate it so much. 2 trillion Pepe coins exit Binance amid price decline. So a whale withdrew 1.93 trillion Pepe from Binance 11 hours ago. The whale appears to have sold 97,000 Link and 9,800 BNB at a loss of 342,000, swapping all positions for 1.93 trillion Pepe and 227 ETH. So I don't know what their strategy was or is, but this could, by the way, I don't know if you remember, we just talked about somebody who was a whale that was doing some kind of big buy here that made 22 million. I don't know if it's the same one. They're just pursuing this in a different way, but we'll see. Next up, crypto exchange KuCoin is introducing mandatory KYC for all users. So if you haven't already, you will now be required to KYC with KuCoin starting July 15. I think the date was, starting July 15. You will now have to KYC. This comes 4 months after New York State Attorney General Letitia James sued KuCoin, saying the crypto exchange is an unregistered commodities and securities broker or dealer. KuCoin rival Binance was also recently charged by the U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission, where the regulator said Binance designed special policies and procedures to help VIP customers evade both IP address-based compliance controls and KYC documentation-based client compliance controls. So make sure that you register with KuCoin. That's another non-degen situation sitting out there now. Staked ETH has now surpassed exchange balances with 19% of the supply being locked. So now remember, there is also a few liquid like Lido, liquid staking protocols. So not everything is locked up in Ethereum, but in the general staking pools for Ethereum, you now have more Ethereum locked up than you have in the exchanges, which is a significant amount and probably a great move. So that makes me feel pretty bullish about what Ethereum is doing right now. And this ends up being, obviously there's some issues with the United States government and securities versus commodities, et cetera, et cetera. But for right now, I get the sense that we're probably looking at a big potential here. Also, Bitcoin price rally stalls for now, and here's why. So for those of you that don't know, TUSD, which is true USD, has depegged. So if you're a true USD holder, then you might be noticing a little bit of a problem in the price action. So let's take a quick look and see how it's doing right now. But there was a depeg not that long ago. So now that is the largest pegging on Binance, as a matter of fact, and trading at 99.92 right now. So not exactly at 100. It's coming down, and we've seen it go down as low as 99.79. Had a moment over here at 99.82. I would be a little bit nervous. Now, remember, the reason that this is happening is because Prime Trust was the backer, and Prime Trust has been entered into receivership, and that means that the government has kind of taken over here. It doesn't really cover that, but all right. Well, anyway, Prime Trust. Here we go. As Bitcoin has reported earlier, the latest revelations surrounding Prime Trust having raised new doubts that TUSD is fully backed for reserve. So what's happening is that Prime Trust, the largest issuer on the TUSD, They are allegedly insolvent. Auditors who attested to TUSD audits and Prime Trust is the rebranded old FTX auditor. So now you've got like, oh shit kind of moment happening in cryptocurrency where people are wondering exactly what it is that's going on here. Get your money off exchanges and stop trading TUSD pairings for right now. I don't know what the low price is going to be. I don't know if it's fully backed or not. What I would say is decide what your margin and decide what your risk tolerance is in the event that you see this dip down into the 99-cent range. I mean, you might be able to make a penny off of it. So you need to have a lot of capital on hand in order to make a buck off of this. This is not like when Circle had this stuff coming up with USDC. We're not going to see it go down to 89 cents. We're not going to see Justin Sun come in with $1 billion and try to buy it up. Looks like it's stabilizing as we speak right now and might just be fine. So maybe it's not a thing, but it did spook the market just a little bit and for just a little while. So moving on here, though, Cameron Winklevoss rails against the U.S. SEC anti-crypto stance, says it does not feel like America. It feels like Venezuela. So shout out to these Venezuelan gentlemen for looking very dapper here in their Venezuela USA flag-backed thing here. But yeah, they've come out and they've, Gemini. I'm not really a fan of Gemini as a trading pair. It's only like 100 different cryptos. So I know that they're trying to do a lot of stuff for compliance, and they've not stayed off the radar, but they've been as compliant as you can possibly be in a very, I want to say anger-filled, resentment-filled sort of environment that the United States has created with the SEC, and they seem to be fighting that good fight. So they've criticized the environment. Everybody's kind of criticizing the environment. I do think we have about 10 minutes until Jerome Powell. I think he goes live in about 10 minutes. We're not going to watch it, but just know that will be coming up pretty soon. Bitcoin and Ethereum technical analysis. Bitcoin consolidates below 31,000 following the Prime Trust liquidation. So the uncertainty, here we go. After briefly rising above 31,000, Bitcoin consolidated on Wednesday as bulls moved to secure recent gains. The uncertainty came as crypto custodian Prime Trust entered receivership after being found to be illiquid by authorities. Ethereum also declined, once again falling below 1,900. So again, TUSD, you should be questioning it right now. So, and by the way, $3 billion in trade volume, $3 billion in market cap should be fine, but we're going to see. It's not huge, but it is one of the biggest trading pairs. If you haven't already, by the way, hit the like button on the way in. Certainly helps me out. And we've got some more. We've got Wesley in here volting it up. We've got Abdallah in here volting. Hunter, any thoughts on Casper? I don't know enough about Casper to make a comment at this point. Cash Cats. If I did, by the way, I would just be guessing and trying to convince you that I did. So we're not going to do that. Robert Freeman, good morning. Tom Collide, what is going on? Yeah, there's multiple Pepe 2.0s, but only one launched yesterday and was up 26,000. So it's that one. That's the one that they're talking about. Crypto exchange volumes rebound in wake of Bitcoin ETF filing. So we're starting to see a buildup of retail investors coming back into the market, or at least being willing to make an investment into the market. You can see right here the trade volume. These are the trade volumes, by the way. So we saw it go from down here, which was about 11 billion, all the way up in the 30 billions, 35 billions, 45 billion. Then it came way back down again for a little while in the late part of May, early part of June. And then now it's starting to spike back up. It's at 19 billion right now. Hopefully the capital continues to come in and we continue to help push this thing up, which leads us to Michael Saylor. MicroStrategy now holds over 4.6 billion worth of Bitcoin. So when Michael Saylor tells you that that this is like not a central, he's as centralized as it gets. Now remember, Grayscale has 600,000 Bitcoin, but MicroStrategy now holds 152,333 Bitcoin worth over 4.6 billion at current prices. Now, they also sold 337 million in shares from oh shit. Oops. They sold 333 million in shares, which was the actually, you know what? That was the click. They sold up to 500 million in stock to fund Bitcoin purchases. So what they've done is they've gone for they've sold off a bunch of different stocks, which they've then used in order to buy Bitcoin. So that's a great sign for the crypto market, but it's also another example of increasing centralization by the whales in Bitcoin. Now, here's the thing. Imagine, if you will, an environment which, and you should consider that this is going to be an issue, right? Just consider this. Consider what happens if, let's just say, Grayscale has 600,000 Bitcoin, and BlackRock comes in, buys 1 million Bitcoin. What happens if Fidelity comes in with 1 million Bitcoin? How centralized do we become at that point? And MicroStrategy continues to consolidate, and all of the Bitcoin are held by 4 or 5 different companies. So you do have to consider at least that we are becoming more centralized as these big whales start to move into the space. I don't even know how much. The largest holder is Binance. I do know that, but I don't know exactly how much they hold. But consider we are moving in a position where we are becoming more and more centralized on Bitcoin, and there is still that 51% takeover possibility. You never know what is going on. Call me Karma Chameleon. All right, next up, Bitcoin Golden Cross. So the first ever Golden Cross on Bitcoin's weekly chart may occur in a few weeks. The first weekly Death Cross took place in February of 2023. So we had the Death Cross in February, and guess what happened? Nothing bad. And then the next thing you know, here we are. So I don't know that there's going to be too much into it, but there is still that possibility that it means something, right? But I don't think that it does. However, here we are. This was the Death Cross right over here, and we went pumping off of the Death Cross. So now the question is, what's going to happen now that we go back to the Golden Cross? And I think that just means we're going to pump a lot more. Again, we did the alligator thing last night, and I showed you guys where all of this was. All the technical indicators are telling us right now that we are about to start sending. So I would think that most probably the next move here is a great sending by Bitcoin. The question right now really is more, how far do we fall before it really takes off? Like how much can we liquidate? How much can we grab in liquidity? Do we even need it at this point? Is there something that's going to start just taking the market and pumping it super hard? If we look at the liquidity map, it was 30,157 when we first looked at it a little while ago. It's at 30,194. Remember, we swept this entire area, and as you can see down here, we've got the 5x that are starting to build up, and we've got the 10x that are building up right here. And that really, it's just, we're going to have to sweep into this 33,000. Like, we need to get into this right here and start wrecking these guys if we really want to see that move. And this gap that we have in between where we are right now and let's call it 31,500, that gap right there is an enormous gap, and we're gonna have to close that. Otherwise, people will get tired and people start to move on and say, well, you know what, now is not the time. And when that happens, that's when the price starts coming down. So hopefully we're gonna see something good. Now they're asking the question, is the worst over? Is the worst over? I think so. I think that, you know, even if we're in a market in which we get maybe some real bearish signals, I think even if that happens, I think that we're even if we experience a recession, I believe that we're probably going to not experience it the same way in cryptocurrency. XRP now showing bullish signal amid trader capitulation, according to crypto analytics firms. So as you can see over here, like they're tracking what's going on, and they're saying that XRP is trading at 48.30 at the time of the writing. The sixth ranked crypto asset by market cap is up 80.81% in the past 24 hours, but down about 1.36% in the past 7 days. Sentiment also notes that crypto traders were feeling bearish at the start of the week, an indicator that has historically been bullish for the market. After crypto markets topped out last Friday, traders came in at the start of the week with expecting that prices would continue to retrace and provide opportunities to buy in the 27 to 29,000 level. Highly bearish sentiment increased further, rising probability. So people are expecting 27 to 29, but we're not doing that. We're in fact holding at 30,000, which is making it difficult. And in fact, when we just looked at the liquidity map, you saw that there was a bunch of 10x, and there was a bunch of 10x getting taken at around 29, and an expectation of about 10. The 5x is around 28,000. So there we go. So it looks like it looks like we've got a bullish signal, another bullish signal in a host of them, telling us that the market is about to send. Now, for Ethereum, the top trending layer 2 scaling solutions, just for everybody's, Arbitrum is number 1 right now, and Optimism is number 2. ZK Sync is number 3. Didex is number 4. Immutable comes in at number 5. Metis DAO is number 6. Loopring is number 7. ZK Sync Lite is number 8. Starknet is number 9, and Polygon is now 10th. Consider that for just a second here. Polygon is now way down here. Everything that might have been growing on Polygon or might have been happening on Polygon now appears to be moving to Arbitrum very quickly. So if you asked me the other day, I was asked, like, what are my 5 biggest plays? I think Arbitrum is going to be one of them. I think Conflux is going to be one of them, which leads me to this one. Market maker DWF Labs announced the purchase of an additional 18 million worth of CFX tokens from Conflux officials for a total purchase of 28 million. Conflux plans to leverage the raised funds to further fuel its ecosystem growth in Asia and Hong Kong. So the largest population, this is going to be the largest blockchain, Conflux, and I really think that that's going to affect the price. So should be paying attention to that. First of all, that's racist. I'm doing my best, man. I got Jesus Christ. Look, it's a little bit red. Like, I did at least go out and try to get tan. My phone screen is too white. Jesus Christ, man. God damn. Ugh. We're in a recession. All right. Next, presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy says Bitcoin is a defense against the manipulation of our money supply. And that is the kind of information that you want to hear from these candidates. Remember, at this point, we have Robert F. Kennedy, we know, is a Bitcoin maxi, seems to be in for all of cryptocurrency, but we're not sure. He really focuses on Bitcoin when he has those conversations. The same thing, again, with Donald Trump. He's never said anything good about Bitcoin, but he does have an Ethereum NFT collection. So there's a possibility there. But the people that we know that are pro cryptocurrency are Ron DeSantis on the right so far, and Marianne Williamson on the left so far. Those are the two that we have in the position of the most likely candidates that are pro cryptocurrency. So keep that in mind. As we get more information and as we see more coming out, then we'll start to, we can start to change our idea here. But so far, RFK, definitely a Bitcoin maxi. Not sure about the rest of cryptocurrency yet. Seems to be that everybody's, of course, anybody in the media, they're not paying attention to the whole thing. They're just wondering about Bitcoin. And then finally, by the way, ratings for Around the Blockchain are absolutely in the tank since I'm not on it. So I should be on there way more. At least I feel like that. Remember here, Frankie Candles is now predicting 37,300 price for Bitcoin. Where did you hear that 4 months ago? This is because I can't help myself. Success rate for handling 5 guys, that cop 100%, Ocean Gate 0%. So yeah, so if the question is, do I have issues? Yeah, Elemental. Remember the elementals that came out yesterday? Here's Ocean Gate, and then here's the Elemental Ocean Gate. Just in case you're wondering if I have issues, yes, I do. So yeah, there we are. And that's it. All right, so let's get into some chart action and see what is going on in the broader markets. Now, again, if you haven't been paying attention, I do think that sell-off that you saw on Ben was actually just MEXC kind of dumping on the market again to clear out the perpetual futures contract. I can't say that with any level of certainty at this point, but it sure did kind of look like it. So quack, I want to say. Pepe trading at 15.14 had its little sell-off last night, by the way. Didn't happen at the same time because I was looking at it. So we're trading at 16.21, and around 7 p.m. last night, we saw that big drop off, and then we saw another big drop off and another big drop off. Now we found 1492, this 1500 line, as support one more time. The question is, will it continue to hold? Now, if we're being honest, then we went all the way up here, then we came here, then we came here, then we had this last ditch, can we break through sort of level. And we did not break through that. So I would think that the most likely scenario of play out is more like this trend line right here. And that leads us to about 1570, right? Because it seems like it's trending lower and lower and lower. So I would think that if there's a rally on Pepe right now, that it might end up capped at around this level here. And then we might reject back into this level and actually fall through, maybe testing it one more time. And then the most likely scenario at this point right now for Pepe is a break to the downside, no matter what Kenobi tells you. Remember, he told you that we were pumping and we were continuing to pump way over here and didn't happen. So, by the way, I reserve the right to be wrong on that one. It's very possible that this does. There's always a chance that it's going to break to the upside. I just don't think it doesn't look like it's something that's going to break to the upside. Dow Jones down 120 points right now. Looks like this. That's usually a testament to Jerome Powell absolutely shitting on the entirety of the markets. Jerome Powell's speech. All right, he gives a speech in Europe today. What is the time on it? Maybe he's not speaking yet. He's going to be speaking at some point today. All right, so he is going to go. No, he is actually starting right now. So that might explain why the market is dumping. And let's go see what we see on YouTube. We might have. Yeah, so Fed Chairman Jerome Powell is live somewhere. So maybe, just maybe. I don't see anything readily available. So, well, he's out talking. So if the market gets crazy in the next few minutes, you'll know it's because Jerome Powell can't keep his mouth shut and act as if. So now Bitcoin. Bitcoin trading right now at 30,210. Shit, didn't want to be right with that, by the way, with it bouncing down here. But as you can see, it is bouncing off of right here. So it is bouncing off of the resistance and it's coming back up from this area. If it comes out here at 32.65 and gets rejected, then we're probably looking at more downside to 29,000. At least 29.8, most probably 29.5 before we start to bounce and kind of play around. Or Jerome Powell can be nice and move this thing back up into 37,800 and we can get on with this run because the run is coming no matter what Jerome Powell or anybody else says right now. So the market flows, by the way, are in the red on the 1 hour, the 2 hour still in the red. Red on the daily, red on the weekly, Right on the daily, got a lot of money flow on the outs right now. So it looks like in the 5 minutes, the only one that's flipped green. So we're gonna need a little more confirmation for a longer period of time before any of that changes. Now, Ethereum had a big drop overnight, as you can see from this right here. Now we have to consider here that Ethereum is minting lower highs and lower lows, and so we're getting into this, like, it really looks like there's just a little channel that's playing to the downside right here after this breakout. So the question now is, can it recover, or will it recover? Because the most likely play out, if this trend's going to continue, is for this move here with a test at around, what is this, 1860, and then another rejection down into the 1840 level with a move back up to 1855. If that's the case, and if that's how it's going to play out, then it does mean that it's getting rejected off of these levels, and we'll have to come back out here into some higher levels to see where we can catch support. And the support right now is still down here at 1838. So it could be that we're starting to move down. Again, maybe a reversal is underway, and we'll see what happens. And then everything seemed to be in sell-off mode over the last little while, except your random shitcoin pumps. Was it Pepe 2.0? You have L up here. This L token has a 7 million market cap, 8 million volume. Did the same thing that most of them do, ran up for a few hours, and now it dumped. So yeah, it's doing it too. Pepe 2.0 was the one. It was this one right here. Up 192,000, continued through the overnight to continue pumping. So 3.87 million market cap, 9 million in volume. That sounds like something that's probably got some more upside to it as it balances itself out. As this comes down, we'll probably see maybe a 5 million market cap. It's a little late to be getting in. So I would think that, there's probably, I don't think there's too much more upside, but you never know with these things. You never know. Look, if you're faking it, which is you're making another Pepe because the first Pepe wasn't enough, it's not going to go as high as the other one. It just doesn't work that way. But we'll see what happens. 100x Gems is trading at 29.56 right now. Hit their all-time high just recently, 1939 on DeckConnect. BRL at 51.92. Ben down to 73.87. Again, that big sell-off, I think that was and it's not happening anymore. So I think that was just MEXC dumping their perpetual futures. RFD at 90.33, Cult 34.12, WAGMI 54.77, Volt 41.31, MMAI 31.93, Grumpy Cat 65.06. Grumpy Cat's basically in free fall at this point. They seem to be coming back in, and they seem to be buying it up, but the floor holders and the people that are hodling, I don't think they can afford to keep the price at the level that it's at right now when they're doing these buybacks. And I haven't seen Maya in 2 days running any spaces, so I don't know really what's going on over there, if maybe they're losing some people. So I have no idea what's going on. Keep it on the chart over here, see what happens, see if it has a revival, but I don't know. Shib 72.97, Bone at 90.21. Bone coming back down. Maybe you're going to get one last chance. Maybe it bounces off of 84. If it bounces off 84, it's a big time buy, right? Psyop 49.89, Pepe 15.11, Loyal 24.40, 4chan 61.24. Just continuing to look. Remember all the people. Remember all the people days and days and days ago. I want you to just do this at some point. Remember all the people that were telling you, oh, bro, you got to get in over here. They were screwing you and using you as exit liquidity. Remember that. The ones that were telling you, oh, you got to get in at this big-ass price over here because we moonin', dog. Remember that. Remember those people. They are not your friends. Those are the people who are trying to take your money from you and use you so that they can afford to make money, and they're just transferring your money to their pockets. Don't forget that. As for Luna Classic, so there is a video that I just put out on Luna Classic, and the video was, where do we go from here? Like, what's the next sort of move? And the next move is the USTC repeg, which I think is going to be renamed USTR, so it'll be UST repeg. And there's going to have to be an algorithmic. They have to come up with some kind of process by which they get rid of or they shed about, was it $9 billion worth of debt? So how do you shed $9 billion worth of debt on USTC? Well, one of the ways that they've decided, by the way, it does have a bullish divergence here. You see this top here and this top here. These tops are kind of balancing out, and then you've got this the higher lows over here. So you do have a positive move potentially coming, but it's happening during a time when the market seems to be kind of dumping based on Jay Powell having his meeting. So I think that Luna Classic's going to have to repeg. USTC doesn't have a reason to exist at this point other than to be repegged with Luna Classic. So there's going to have to be a reason for people to want to have USTC. Now, that means that somebody's going to have to, and remember, Anchor Protocol was the reason that you had to have USTC before when it was Terra, because that's what you borrowed and that's what you were loaned. Like that was your money from Anchor Protocol. So we need somebody like Anchor to come back in, and it looks like somebody is stepping up to the plate. I can't reveal a name yet because I don't know what the name is, but I am hearing rumors that there is someone that's willing to do this and willing to come in and set up a new sort of Anchor Protocol. It's not Anchor, by the way. And that would create immediate value for USTC. Now, how much value? That remains to be seen. There's going to have to be a burn mechanism. There's going to have to be, at least for a short period of time, something that causes people to want to use USTC and Luna Classic. And then every time USTC is converted to Luna Classic, the USTC would end up being burned, right? And then any other USTC on the open market would then be used without minting new stuff. Then Luna Classic would be burning itself and USTC at that period of time until you can stabilize the USTC price at a certain level. And then you would have to swap over, and then you would have to start doing the same thing from USTC to Luna Classic. So I think that there's going to be a complicated sort of algorithm that will start the process. It's not going to be 100%. It's just going to be something that starts it, because you have to come up with a method to burn. So that's the most likely culprit and scenario to play out right now. Again, markets are down 19 billion in the 24-hour period. So a lot of sell-off happened here. We'll see what happens here and how it holds up. So, but time for work now. So it's not financial advice. My name is Bleeves. I'm always right. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you. We're going to take this one, $5. Thank you, Trail Boss. When the SHI stablecoin is released, which is a part of Shiba Inu, will that burn SHIB the same way USTC did with Luna? I don't know the technicals on SHI right now. The idea was that it would. SHI stablecoin. All right. So the blog post says, let's go ahead and share right here. All right. So Ryoshi first mentioned this in May of 2021. This is what it looks like. The latest SHI stablecoin update comes from Shitoshi. In 2022, says SHI is still being created through a group of developers in our decentralized network. He also stressed the need for caution after the Luna crypto. Yeah, so he's saying SHI is a concern after watching other stable. Okay, so this is going to be an algorithmic stable token. It's not going to be fully backed, and that represents a problem. So that's why you probably haven't heard very much about it right now. The latest update regarding SHI comes from Shiba developer Call Diary in a Twitter post that touches on several subjects, such as the SHIB metaverse. He also referenced SHI. Diary says SHI is in development. Vote for your favorite collateral. The collateral in this case, is the stable asset that she may be pegged to. Stablecoins often use fiat currency, such as USD, but Diarrhea's comment suggests this peg has yet to be decided. So they're deciding on what the peg is going to be at this point, and then the question is going to become, what is it backed by? So according to Ryoshi, it's an there we go. It's an algorithmic stablecoin that always pegs to 1 cent. So doing it to a penny might be actually that actually might be kind of cool. So for She, it could be pegged to 1 penny, acting as a more stable store of value for the Shiba Inu blockchain. Now, by the way, it doesn't matter whether it's $1, a dime, or a penny. It's going to be the same thing, right? There could be a tax. So they often hold reserves or collateral. Ryoshi did not lay out a specific idea for how She will manage its stability, instead touting various methods. So that doesn't look good already. So I think that maybe we're going to pamp the brakes on this one before anything, and they really haven't released, it looks like. Ryoshi also suggests a partially backed stablecoin. This would feature a catcher coin to absorb the fluctuation in value to help maintain the peg. So it looks like they're working on it. However, the fact that they're concerned because of the algorithmic part basically means that the most likely culprit, in order for it to be that way, is that it will burn Shiba, or maybe bone or leash, depending on what the transfer and the process is, that it will burn some tokens along the way. I mean, we have to remember the whole purpose behind most of the stuff that's being built right now for SHIB is to burn tokens. So I would imagine that the She is probably going to end up being something that does burn the token. So we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, guys, got to go. It's not financial advice. My name is Bleeves. I'm always right. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll talk to you again very, very soon.
Whoa, another shot of the bullet. Loaded, got complex, cocking and pulling. That bottleneck look like the Loch Ness. What are we doing? I'm about to fall out, boy, and the proof's in the pudding. So can we forget about